Do you know the Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man?
The Muffin Man.
Yes, I know the Muffin Man. Who lives on Drury Lane?
Well, she's married to the Muffin Man.
The Muffin Man! The Muffin Man!
See,
Hello.
that would have been perfect if we recorded this Shrek marathon.
Hello and welcome to the Sunday Movie Marathon podcast. Yeah, it would have been. Oh well, too bad.
Episode 4.
Yeah, episode 4 of the Sunday Movie Marathon. How are we all doing?
Not bad.
Yeah.
Chris?
I am okay under the strange circumstances we are under at the moment.
Yeah,
it's
a little bit
unfortunate.
different. We're recording this podcast through Zoom. It's a weird setup that we've got going on at the moment. So let's pray to God that it works and Chris can figure it out.
Hopefully,
Yeah.
I've done it before.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think the only annoyance that there's going to be is because the video on Zoom is delayed. A few of us are going to be talking over each other, or there's going to be like really strange silences at some point.
Yeah, I'll
Maybe.
have to sort that out.
So, Max, what's this episode, mate? What have we done?
Well, avid listeners will know that this episode is the 50p marathon. We got together before lockdown and watched 3 movies that we each bought for 50p with funny consequences.
Yeah, so the last weekend or the last Sunday of every month, we'll go into like a charity shop or any shop, and we'll find a DVD that none of us have seen that is 50p or below, and we'll buy it. Doesn't matter what it is, and then we'll watch it. And so far, Chris has just chose the weirdest fucking films that seem to have always been the best ones that we've watched.
Well, I don't know if I'd go that far.
Well, what? Godsend wasn't good.
Well, that was technically your movie, though.
Yeah, and it wasn't good. Do you know how it was like I can't even explain what your movie was about, Max, in all fairness. It was so weird.
Well, we'll
Was
get to that,
great.
won't we?
Yeah.
So, of course, we watched Chris's movie first. Chris, do you want to give a brief introduction and synopsis?
Sure. So
Yeah, go ahead.
I picked the animated movie Legend of Oz: Dorothy's Return. It is an unofficial sequel to The Wizard of Oz.
I'll say.
Technically,
Mate, it has Patrick Stewart in it. How can it be unofficial?
yeah. Technically, it's set the day after, but at the same time set a few years later. So for Dorothy, she wakes up and then the next day she's thrust back into Oz. But in Oz, like, years have passed. The brother, I think it is, of the witch, the main witch from the first film, is some jester guy, and he is taking over Oz, and their only hope is Dorothy. So they bring her back in, and she goes on the same adventure again, but meeting new characters this time. And yeah,
Yeah.
it's a musical, of course.
I completely forgot that this movie was a musical until they started singing. I completely forgot that you had said that, and I didn't realise The Wizard of Oz was also a musical.
Yeah. It's like one of the most famous movie musicals.
I mean, no, it isn't. Have you seen Mamma Mia 1 or 2?
Yeah, and they're not good.
Ooh.
Yeah, alright then, mate. Alright, fuck off. Your favourite movie is what? Fucking Ninja Dragon?
Yeah.
So, what I will say about this movie is what one of you two brought up in, like, when we started watching it. The animation and the film itself was actually surprisingly better than what we thought it was going to be.
Right.
I wouldn't say the film itself, but the animation, yeah.
No,
was
that's
alright.
that's what I mean. The animation itself and like the audio quality of like the voices and stuff.
Yeah,
was
it wasn't
just,
like disgusting. It wasn't
No,
repulsive.
I thought it was just going to be like recording through your laptop or something. So I was pretty pleased when we loaded the movie up and actually got some decent audio and visual.
Yeah.
Yeah, for what it wasn't the worst movie ever made. It's like an alright made movie. Like some
Yeah,
the
big
only thing-
actors and stuff in it.
Yeah,
Oh,
well,
well.
just big actors. Patrick Stewart's like the only one that I really knew. I'm pretty sure most people already know.
So you got Leah Michele, who's probably best known for being in Glee. You got Dan Aykroyd, who is in Blues Brothers, Ghostbusters. Jim Belushi, he's in loads of comedy stuff. Kelsey Grammer, who's in Frasier, Cheers, and he's plays Sideshow Bob.
She's also mentioned in Rush Hour 2.
And he's based in
Rush
X-Men.
Hour 1. Rush Hour 1.
You got Martin Short, who's been in loads of films. I'm pretty sure he's in Twilight. I could be wrong. I am wrong looking at his filmography.
Oh,
But
brilliant.
he was the bad guy in the Santa Claus 3, the Escape Clause, where he played Jack Frost.
Oh, cool.
Fucking is that Santa Claus like the film series with the guy from Home Improvements?
Yeah.
Oh, they're amazing, but they're so fucking bad at the same time.
Yeah, they're not good. But yeah, you've also got Patrick Stewart, Brian Blessed, and also for some reason the singer Bryan Adams shows up at one point.
What?
Like
That must have been when I was asleep.
in the opening they said that the songs were by him, but they're actually not. There's just one song he wrote and he like sings it. It's the song where there's like they're building the boat. He plays like a chipmunk or something who sings one line.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
I will say, in terms of the film itself, I didn't like the story to it. Not the whole like the queen or witch has a brother that then decides to take revenge. Like that's just what I'd assume standard. But what I found was a very odd choice, which I don't see why they did it. Is deciding that only a day had passed in Dorothy's time.
Yeah, that was a bit weird. So, like,
Yeah,
we see her in her animated world, and if you've watched the original movie from the 30s, I think, the hurricane happens, and this movie takes place about a day after that happened, and so it's
why
like,
are you
well,
laughing? Why are you laughing at people's houses blown over by hurricanes?
Just
but
funny,
it's like,
innit?
okay, nothing has changed for Dorothy, basically.
It's funny.
If we are to assume that this does take place of that same timeline, just it's animated now, and like years have passed in Oz. Well, so she goes back on the Rainbow Road. She gets swallowed by a rainbow.
Oh yeah, it looks like Rainbow Road from Mario Kart.
That was such an odd thing to happen. It's just like this hurricane of a rainbow just like barrels towards her, and her and her dog are like running for their dear lives, and then it like they get into a bunk and it crashes through and just picks her up and takes her and tows her away.
It doesn't
Yeah.
just pick her up. The rainbow turns into a huge hand and grabs her.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We're picking it up, but like the only reason I didn't understand why they had chosen that route to go down is the lack of character development. Because you think about it, throughout the whole film, the original 3 side characters or her company characters are rarely in it. I mean, she's making obviously new friends. I just don't get it why. Like, just imagine like if we all hung out and then like the next day we hung out again. There wouldn't be that much to talk about. There wouldn't be no development in our lives. There'd be nothing new, no new experiences, nothing. But then if we gave it like 4 or 5 years, well, you can imagine character development will happen over that period of time. So for Dorothy, it was just like she went into Oz, came out, fell asleep, woke up, and then got thrust back into there, and it's meant to feel like a reunion story when they finally meet at the very end. But it's just like, for her, it doesn't really matter.
No. Well, that's what I took issue with, like, quite a bit. It's like she hasn't developed as a character, and like that's just, like, it even baffles me to like say that, because this is not the same character as was in the original. It's not.
No,
It's not a
no.
continuation. It's like if I acknowledge that as a continuation, then I acknowledge this movie being more than it is. Which I just saw this movie as some like boring B movie that tries to capitalize off a pre-existing product. It has nothing to do with the original movie, and to be quite honest, I hated it.
Yeah, it was
Fucking
pretty
hell,
terrible.
Max. It was a bad movie, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think if it wasn't like attached to a pre-existing property, you could just like whatever, shake it off and just not care about it. And I don't.
If you think about it though, like if you take out the title and replaced it with something generic or something else, and then you changed certain aspects of the film, not even that much, maybe like 5% of the film,
Yeah.
it would be a completely new film, and it would have no correlation. You wouldn't even know that it was Wizard of Oz. If you take out those 3 characters, you kept in the story, but you changed how Dorothy was involved, then it's a new story, and you wouldn't have a clue that it was about Wizard of Oz or even linked in that universe.
No,
So
you
yeah,
could
they've
just-
definitely
yeah.
just tried to capitalize on the name itself.
You just call it Dotty Dingle's Adventure into Crazy Land, and you just be like, all right. I guess this is
I
what
kind
we're
of feel like
watching.
Max has that written down on his notes.
I do not.
Yeah, he's been thinking about that name for weeks.
So, Chris, what made you pick this film of all the films?
Yeah, what the hell?
So, I went into 2 or 3 charity shops trying to find a film, and everything looked really boring.
you
And then I saw-
actually like did research for it then.
Research? No, he just walked through a few different shops.
Yeah.
You actually tried though.
Yeah, of course. I wanted to find something that I thought would be funny. And I went into a charity shop. There was like a handful of films in the children's section. I was like, this could be something funny. And then I saw this, and I was like, I have actually heard of this film because it's like renowned for being one of the worst animated films of the 2010s. So I was like, yeah, this will be funny.
Yeah, I'm not
And I saw
surprised.
Patrick Stewart's name, and I was like, yeah.
So, Patrick Stewart plays a tree in this film.
It gets
And-
turned into a boat, and it's fucking
it-
terrifying.
Yeah, it's so fucking weird. And at the very end of the film, there's like a battle scene, and there's a shot of Patrick Stewart as this boat, and then all of a sudden his mouth just elongates like a snake about to swallow its prey, and then just a bunch of soldiers come out of his mouth, and Patrick Stewart just says nothing.
Yeah. Because he's
And
got
it's
a bunch of
honestly
soldiers in his mouth.
terrifying.
It was like a Trojan horse.
Yeah.
Patrick Stewart honestly sounds like he recorded the lines at home on his phone.
Yeah, well, he probably did.
He could have. He probably didn't even need to leave his house. He didn't really have that many lines either, did he?
Not really.
No, not really.
He pulls himself out of the ground and he says, "Make me into a boat," and they carve up his wooden flesh, and then they sail him to the jester's lair.
Well, yeah.
Wow.
Well, you think about this, right? When Dorothy walks over to so they get to this river and they need to cross it. Pardon me.
Yeah.
So they go to make a bridge, and they're like, "Oh, we'll go get some wood from these trees," and these trees are alive. Dorothy snaps off a branch, and the tree feels pain.
Yeah. It
So
shrieks in agony.
if the tree felt pain through a branch being snapped, could you imagine how Patrick Stewart felt getting carved up?
He just feels numb.
Like he's probably fucking old enough for it not to feel anything. But he's probably like, that's the equivalent to us getting our skin carved off and turned into something else.
Maybe he's a sadomasochist who's like really enjoying it.
He probably just really wants to feel
yeah.
something. He just hasn't felt.
Yeah.
No one's touched him in like eons. He just wants to be. He just wants to feel something, even if it's pain.
And he doesn't care what that. Yeah, it doesn't care what it is.
We get a whole host of new characters Dorothy meets, and I'm just thinking, okay, so who do we get? We get the fat owl, that guy, who can't fly.
Can't fly.
I've just remembered the part of the movie where the owl starts to fly. And he's just standing there and he starts flapping his wings really fast and it just looks really odd.
Yeah. It's like, why didn't you try doing that before? Like, he's complaining that he can't fly anymore, but the first time he ever tried to do it again, he could fly.
Yeah, because this movie is what, like an hour and a half long. You don't have time for this character development. I don't care.
It just has to happen out of nowhere.
He's just a fat owl, and he can't fly, but also he can. Great.
I think my least favourite bit of the whole film, I think Connor was asleep during it, is where where she meets the owl and they go into that candy land.
Oh,
and,
God, yes.
The jester changes the signs because the signs say do not eat any candy, and the jester changes it to like help yourself or something. So they're running around eating all this candy, and the jester has this musical number, and it's so loud and obnoxious.
I actually I listened back to that song because it's on YouTube, I guess, today, and I listened to it. Oh my God, it's so embarrassing. And I felt embarrassed while I was watching it. I tried to.
Yeah, well, I tried to find the soundtrack on Spotify, and there's just nothing there for it. So
no, of course not.
But the songs weren't memorable. I can't remember anything.
No, the
singing was
terrible.
good.
Well,
but
whatever. I can't remember any of it.
Well, yeah, it doesn't mean their singing weren't good. It just means the songs were shit.
Yeah, Leah Michelle's a good singer. Obviously, like I said, she was on Glee, so she knows how to sing. She was on Broadway for years and stuff.
Yeah. Are you on Glee or Broadway, Max?
No, I'm not.
Well, there we go. Don't
So,
throw
well,
stones
anyway, I
if
don't
you're in a
care.
glass house. What?
Well, she sucked anyway. I don't care. This whole movie
Yeah, she
sucked.
wasn't good.
I'm not going to afford anyone any like credit. This movie was terrible. Okay, I did not have a good time. I wanted to die while watching this. I lost
I was
my
so
soul.
bored.
It felt like it was 2 hours long.
Did you not?
Yeah.
Do you guys not find the jester very entertaining? He was a wacky
No.
character.
I hated him.
Can any of you remember like any key points of the film?
No.
Yes. Okay, there's a scene where they go over
The
a
ending.
waterfall. No, they go over a waterfall, and they all survive, apart from like the China doll who they picked up along the way. She's here now. And like she was like killing her own people, was she, or something? Because like she could scream really loud, or like with a really high pitch. She was killing her own people because they would just smash because they were all made of China. And then she goes over. They all go over the waterfall, and miraculously it only kills her. But of course, this is like a children's movie, so she can't actually die, so she comes back to life. And I must have like blanked that from my mind, because all of a sudden I see her, and she's alive again. I'm like, when the hell did that happen?
Yeah, I was going to say the bit where she comes back to life is hilarious, because there's a marshmallow guy, man made of marshmallows, who's in love
Marshall
with
Mallow.
her.
Marshall Mallow is his name.
And yeah, so she's smashed, and he's holding the pieces of her.
She's
and
smashed as a kid's film.
Yeah, he's
She's
holding
off
the
her
pieces
fucking
of her.
face.
He's holding her and singing this song to her and like gluing her back together using like bits of his marshmallow that has melted.
This film is so, when you think about it in terms of like how they would be feeling, you got a tree being skinned alive, a China doll killing her own people by combustingly exploding them, and then he's ripping off his own flesh to glue her back together. And not only that, when have you ever known fucking Marshmallow to glue anything to anything?
No, of course not.
No,
Well,
it
it's a
makes
kids'
fucking
movie.
s'mores and that's it.
It's a kids' movie. I'm not supposed to think about it. He's a sentient marshmallow.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
That gets encouragement from Dorothy to ask out this midget.
What, the China girl?
Yeah.
China doll? The queen?
Maybe
Or the
their
princess.
relationship is like no matter if someone has flaws, you can still love them or something, because she ends up having cracks all over her and she's like a midget. So that gave me hope.
She's a midget. Yeah. And you know what else? She was small.
Well, she was.
This
I don't know
movie
how they were-
has no messages. I don't know what you could take away from it. Like, oh, that was like I watched it. Okay, that was 1 hour and a half.
No.
Gone.
There is a message that I feel we could really, if we squeeze the lemon hard enough, we can get something out of it.
Oh, go on then.
At the very end, the jester summons a tornado to kill Dorothy, but it backfires and he ends up falling into the tornado. Dorothy saves him, but then smashes the gem that gives the jester his power and throws his staff into the tornado, and the jester jumps into the tornado after being saved to retrieve it, and then he dies. So maybe you could think like the film's about like greed will always lead to your inevitable death.
Power consumes.
Yeah, but it's a kids movie, so you know what a message.
Power corrupts. And all that jazz. Yeah, you know what? Now you've said that, Connor, it really makes me think twice about this movie. I actually really like it now.
Do you want me to just drop off the DVD sometime?
No, you can keep that.
Oh, thanks.
Who's still got Paranormal Ascendancy?
Actually, I do. I was tidying my room
Really?
earlier, and it must have fallen out from somewhere. So I went for a walk, and I came back, and it was just lying on the floor.
Mate,
God,
that didn't
So that
just
was the
fall
first thing I
out.
saw.
Was it 3 a.m. by any chance?
Oh shit! Now you say it.
Mate, if you're not going to keep that film, give it to me, because I will... in like 20 years' time, when I have kids, I will sit them down and say, do you kids want to watch the worst movie that's ever been made?
And then they'll put themselves up for adoption straight after.
But to be fair, by that point, I don't think DVD players would be a thing. I think we'd just be like watching stuff in the little microchip in the back of our heads that Elon Musk is creating.
Yeah,
Maybe.
probably robots.
I've got a few facts about the movie before we go to ratings.
Oh, please
Yeah, go on then.
tell us.
Yeah, let's know more
So-
about this movie.
So the film is actually based off a book called Dorothy of Oz, which is written by the great-grandson of L. Frank Baum, who wrote the original Wizard of Oz and a few sequels to it as well.
Well, he fucking tarnished his great-granddad's legacy, didn't he?
Yeah. But
Well-
the book was an official release by his grandson, I guess, or great-grandson.
Right. What else you got?
The film, it came out in 2014, but they'd actually started trying to raise money for it in 2006.
Jesus Christ.
So
What?
it took ages.
They
to
had...
make.
Oh my God. That's like 8 years and nobody
Yeah.
stopped to think, you know what, this is probably not a good idea.
No, the final budget was $70 million.
Holy fuck me. No
And-
way.
It grossed 21 million worldwide.
Oh no.
Oh my
God.
god, 70 million. Just imagine what you could do with 70 million.
Yeah.
Mate, Deadpool was made on less the money than that.
That's
Deadpool.
crazy.
And finally, the film was co-directed by Will Finn and Dan St. Pierre, who both were character designers and animators on loads of Disney movies throughout the 90s, like Little Mermaid, Beauty and the Beast, all these really great movies.
Wow.
And then Will Finn actually wrote and directed Home on the Range, which is not only the worst Disney movie, it's one of the worst animated movies I've ever seen.
So he's
Wow.
not only got the worst animated movie of 2014, but he's also got the worst animated movie of all time that you've
Oh
seen.
shit, and Daniel St. Pierre was also an animator on Shark Tale, which is the greatest
Oof.
movie ever made.
Oh, big oof there. Damn.
Oh, yeah.
That
Well,
was
to be
tragic.
fair though, like one sunny day doesn't make summer. Like he got lucky, I'd say, with that one.
Perhaps
Shark
Considering all
Tale.
the other shit that he's made, yeah.
Have you watched Shark Tale?
No, is it bad?
It's awful.
If you had seen Shark Tale, you'd know that it's not a sunny day at all.
No.
Is it
Quite the
it's-
opposite.
Fair enough. It's the most depressing rainy day that you could imagine.
Yeah, it's not good.
Right, so I think we've heard all about this movie now, more than we care to continue talking about. So let's go to the ratings. So considering Max always does it out of 10, we've changed the rating system to out of 7.
Lovely.
No. So Max, how many Patrick Stewarts would you give this film out of 10?
This is a terrible, terrible movie. Do not watch it. It has too many similarities to Alice in Wonderland. Just watch that movie instead. I'm giving this a 1 Patrick Stewart out of 10.
Chris?
I'll give it 2 Patrick Stewarts out of 10.
I'm gonna split the difference and go of 1.5 because I fell asleep throughout it, so it must have been bad if it put me to sleep.
You say that, but you just fall asleep during every marathon at this point.
I'm a busy boy, man, and I have a really fucked sleeping schedule.
Yeah, you do.
And Max's house is just so comfy. He gives me the blanket and a pillow, and I just lay down, and then that's it.
Yeah, I treat you too well.
Yeah, too well. And you told off by your nan and uncle for using over your allowance to microwave time.
Yeah, because what bloody rice packet needs to be microwaved for 15 minutes? It's crazy.
It's not fucking. Well, no, it is rice, isn't it? But it's just gammy rice.
It wasn't good. Yeah.
Right. This brings us on to Max's movie of choice, which is probably
Yes.
the best 50p movie I think that has ever been created. And
Well,
I
it's the
can't
best
wait
movie
to.
that's ever been
I
created.
can't wait to hear Max try and explain this film.
Yeah, I was kind of dreading that, to be honest. All right. My movie that I picked is from 1986, directed by Godfrey Ho, and it's called Ninja Dragon. What's it about? Well,
The real question is, what isn't it about? This movie is about life, love. It's about everything.
It's about. I want to say it's sort of about, and this is my best guess here, and I watched the movie. I want to say it's about ninjas, sort of, and I want to say it's about like maybe a mafia. If you guys got that sort of vibe, so there's like people die and they fight and there are ninjas, and overall, it was hilarious. I loved it.
I'm
Kristen-
reading the plot on IMDb.
Oh, please
And
put me out of my misery.
I don't think this was the plot at all, to be honest.
Chris, read
It
the
says,
whole plot out for us, the whole thing.
Okay, this isn't like a full synopsis. This is just like the summary.
Yeah.
Major figures in the ninja community are being slaughtered. 3 ninjas are trying to figure out what evil people want to bring an end to all ninjas and also rescue the kidnapped daughter of one of their mentors.
What? That did not happen.
None of that happened.
Okay.
There was only 2 ninjas in that whole entire film.
Yeah, I didn't get any of that from what I saw.
No one got no one got kidnapped, and there was no mentor.
So there's a synopsis on Letterboxd which actually makes a lot more sense.
Go on.
It says, set in Great Shanghai, two rival gangs, the Furious Fox and the Black Eagle, are fighting to establish domination in their territory. Only one force can stop the never-ending killings, the Ninja Dragon.
That sounds a lot more accurate.
Yeah. Can someone else start off with what they thought about this film? Because I actually have no idea where to begin. There's no plot.
This movie was well, it was bad. I'm just going to say that right off the bat.
What do you mean? This was great.
No, shut up, Chris. Come on. It was terrible. It was a bad movie, okay? But I'm just going to say it. I loved it. It was hilarious. So it's like made in Japan, I guess. But
the key thing is everything is dubbed, so you've got Asian
dubbed.
people speaking with British accents, and then you've got like American looking people talking Chinese, and it just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
But it's really, really funny.
There's so the film starts with like these two rival gangs playing poker. And like one of them wins and then says, "I'm going for a break," and then turns to someone else and goes, "Are you leaving with me?" and just leaves. And then as soon as he walks out, the other guy from the rival gang says, "We're gonna kill him," and
then his voice changes for the rest of the film. He has a completely different accent.
It's so fucking weird.
Well, that's just the kind of guy he is. So the guy in the beginning, he comes in, he has like an American accent or a British, I forget which one, but he comes in, he's got like a mustache, I think, and then he leaves. Is he the Green Ninja?
He is the Green Ninja, yeah.
Okay, good.
That is him.
So even though this was all dubbed, like you could still tell all the acting was bad. The filmmaking was bad. Everything about this movie was bad. Well, and I feel like if we had watched just the original movie, we would have had a lot less of a good time.
Well, there were shots like Chris thinks the film was cut down in aspect ratios from 16:9 to like 4 by whatever.
Yeah,
because
the framing was really off.
Yeah, because they were like, but then I kind of don't think that it had been cut down, because there was a scene when they were at the poker table where the guy is talking to someone, and then the camera pans and there's just no one on screen, and then the camera slowly turns to the right until the guy's in frame, and then it just stops.
So on VHS tapes, there used to be a thing called pan and scan, where because VHS tapes were all 4:3 instead of 16:9. So, like, you got a widescreen movie and there's two characters in the frame and they're talking. If they can't fit both on screen, they like pan between the two, so you still know what's going on. And I feel like that's probably what they tried to do, but it's really badly done if that is what they were going for.
Do you know what? I didn't even consider that this film was actually made on VHS or for VHS or whatever, like, 'cause it's that old.
Well, yeah. I mean, well, when did it come out? 1986. It's not super old. It's just, you know,
well,
it's
were DVDs a thing back then?
No. So it probably would have been for VHS.
Yeah, and then obviously when they've tried to, I would say remaster, but translate that to a DVD format, that's where the quality of the actual film has gone down itself, just from the picture that we see, and then obviously all the recording techniques were not only done poorly during the filming of the movie, but they've also not really translated well to the digital screen.
Absolutely not.
This is a film where everything is done really badly, but it's so chaotic and ridiculous that it's hilarious to watch.
Yeah, absolutely.
there are parts in this movie that don't make sense because there's this grey ninja, which is the guy from the beginning, which is the leader of the rival gang, and then there's like loads of red ninjas that just show up occasionally, and there's no reason why these ninjas show up. The film would just like, it will be like doing another scene like with the family or like at a wedding, and then all of a sudden it will cut to this red ninja just showing up to challenge this grey ninja. And during the ninjas fighting, one of them teleports, like literally teleports, and I sat there and I thought during that part of the film, if that is real, like you've put that into the film now, he can teleport because the other guy has noticed it. Why the fuck is he still losing?
It's dragon power, man.
And then like there would be scenes of like the ninjas fighting, and the ninja will like front flip onto a wall or something, but it's just clearly someone backflipping off a wall, which is then just played in reverse.
Yeah, probably. Or even just like forward flipping.
No, it was played in reverse.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
There's a couple bits where they have like a close up on people's like feet as they like go up a wall, and it actually looked like they'd put their hands in the shoes and that was their arms controlling it.
I would not be surprised. Would not be surprised by that at all.
The voice acting was terrible. Like I said, there were Asian characters with American accents. There were American and actors or characters with Asian accents. There were like little Chinese guy that spoke a bit like this or some shit. And you're just sitting there and you think, what the fuck is going on?
It's just a ridiculous movie from beginning to end.
Yeah, it is like Chris said. The film is chaotic, so it's really hard to talk about because unless you watch it, it's just the film itself is just so fucking hilarious because of how bad everything is.
Yeah,
it is.
By the end of the movie, there's so much piling up in the film. By the end of the film, there's like nothing has been resolved or anything.
No, like
and
literally,
you leave it like, what the fuck just happened?
Yeah, like literally, in the beginning of the film where they're doing like this poker game, the guy that comes in, the American guy who's the Grey Ninja, his like bodyguard is like renowned for being like really tough, but then he dies instantly by getting his throat sliced by his barber, and then that person's daughters come to Shanghai to see the family, and then one of the daughters ends up like engaged and marrying this guy, and then on their wedding day she gets shot in the ass, she dies, the guy picks her up, walks out, and then the movie ends with the ninjas fighting again. But then you don't find out what happens. Like, it's just left that on a loose end.
No, you don't need to know. It's ambiguous. It's artistic.
Movies with ambiguous endings.
How about that? I thought the Red Ninja was like the same guy who just kept coming back. I was like, why is this guy still alive? Why doesn't he just leave?
Well, the question is, if the Red Ninja can teleport, can all the Red Ninjas teleport, or do all the Red Ninjas have some form of, like, power?
Yeah, there's clearly magic in this movie.
Yeah. Well,
the whole movie is magic.
No, the whole movie is magical.
It is magical.
I can't think of a film that we've watched as of yet that has been this bad where we just constantly laughed throughout it. Yeah. Like, it was a bad movie, but it was a good time watching the movie. But what I will say is it did fucking drag.
Yeah, I was going to say, in like the end of the second act, early third act, it gets really boring. Because like all the bad things that you were laughing at, it's just the same thing happening over and over again. It's no longer really funny.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And of course, this movie is an 18 rated movie, and I didn't see anything that like could be considered 18 rated. The only thing that I would say is like maybe just like the naked women. There's like they just put them in there just to make it an 18.
Yeah,
like, this doesn't need to be here, but you want to make it an 18.
there's a part in the film, isn't there, where it's like the woman's in the shower, like the woman's getting ready to shower, and she takes off all her clothes apart from her underwear, like she's just standing there in a pair of like thongs, and then it just cuts away, and she has no relevance to that part of the movie. And then the next time you see her, they open the cupboard door and she stands up and she's again only wearing a pair of thongs, and you're like, why were you hiding in a cupboard in your underwear?
Yeah, no, for sure. It's incredibly stupid. It's not needed. And there's the scene where like the
hold up,
she's
no,
in
Max,
the
I wouldn't say
shower.
it's not needed.
Not nuded.
I ain't gonna say no.
Well, there's like that scene where she's in the shower and a guy comes in, and then she gets out of the shower, and then he drowns her, but like suddenly a bath is drawn. It's just a bath
Yeah,
now. Like
it's
there's
so weird.
water in the bath, and even though she was having a shower, it's like a drawn bath, and he
It
drowns
reminds
her in
me
it.
of the part in The Fly where the girl's ex-boyfriend, who's also her manager, just walks into her house when she's showering and shit or something.
Yeah.
On his own accord.
Well, maybe David Cronenberg saw this movie and thought, you know what, I
that's
could do something like that.
inspiration from.
The director, Godfrey Ho, he made a career for himself by taking other films about ninjas, like pre-existing Taiwanese films about ninjas, and cutting a little bit out and filming like 10 minutes of new content. And that is exactly what he did with Ninja Dragon. He took a Taiwanese film called Dark Trap and then filmed the ninja stuff and added that to it. So it started off
But
as...
this is not the first time he's done this.
No, he did that 149 times.
Oh my fucking god.
So he's a pro.
He literally put out like almost 10 films a year at one point.
Jesus Christ.
So, yeah, this film originally was just a crime film, like about gangs, and then he just added ninjas.
Yeah, well, that's exactly what it felt like. That's what it felt
why
like.
the ninjas see. Yeah, that's why the ninja scene just like seems so out of place all the time, because they're just randomly inserted into the film retroactively.
They all take place like separately, so it's not out of the question.
What I will say though is, I will advise anyone to watch this movie, or the first 45 minutes of this movie. Just the first 45 minutes, watch it. You'll have all the laughs that you need, and then you can turn it off before you get bored.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I highly recommend this movie.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fun. It's crazy. It's crazy to watch. There are so many zoom-ins. Just like zoom in happens, it's like, whoa, look at that. Look what they did. It's another zoom in.
Not only that, there's so many like the music did not fit the scenes. Let's just say that
the music was
they'd be having like
crazy.
conversations about like, oh, we're gonna meet here for lunch or something, and then some really intense dramatic music will start playing in the background.
Yeah,
and it just did not fit. And then there'll be parts where it'll be like, oh yeah, we're having a wedding, and then it will do like a close up on everyone's face in the room like twice, and it will just play really intense music for no reason, and then just skip to a different scene entirely. That makes no sense.
Yeah, it was very blaring, wasn't it? I found the music was quite blaring, overpowering of the scenes.
a bit like Tenet.
A bit like Tenet, yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Very old-fashioned, it sounded.
So,
Yeah, maybe Christopher Nolan was heavily
Mate,
inspired by Ninja Dragon.
mate, we got Cronenberg, we got Nolan. Everyone's taking ideas from this movie, ain't they?
Yeah, apparently
Clearly.
Well, I don't know what else to talk about this movie. This movie was fucking batshit. It was just weird. It was whack. Oh, it's fucking strange.
I'd like to give a few quotes, if I will.
Of course you can.
There's like a bit at the beginning where they're at the table and they're having a game, and because everyone's like, I can only assume they're doing just like their normal accents over Japanese people. So it's like this American guy who's like saying into the microphone in the studio or his house or whatever, he's like, I'd like to have a piece of your action. What? I burst out laughing for that. It was hilarious. It was like, there's a guy who's like, Ronald, you're kidding me. I have never killed anyone in my life. As he's like being accused of murder.
Yeah, that was the hairdresser.
Yeah.
Because Ronald goes, you're not going to kill... Oh, he just goes around like, Bob, have you ever killed anyone?
Yeah.
And the hairdresser just goes, I've never killed anyone in my life.
Ronald! There's like a scene where... oh yeah, and this is a thing as well. Like, this happens like twice in the movie, but someone will get shot and like to stop themselves giving up information, they'll kill themselves, but they won't kill themselves in any like they won't take a cyanide pill. They'll just take their head and smack it into the nearest hardest object until they die.
There's at the end of the film, I really did not understand when they're at the bloke's grave, the Ronald's grave, and they've got like there's the two rival gangs that are like holding guns towards each other, and then like one of the rival gangs bashes his head against the wall for no reason, and then they're just like, oh, I can't believe you've done that, and then they just leave.
I can't believe you've done this. It's
like he bashes his head against this grave, and then all of a sudden just like blood pisses down it and he dies.
Yeah.
And then like the gang that he was part of were just like, I can't believe you've done this to the other gang, and they just leave.
There's like one thing that stood out to me was when like this girl is being slapped and her friend says, how dare you hit Fanny? And then Chris says, we've all heard that. In response, I was like, what? We all turned around. We were like, dude.
Chris just abuses the puss.
Yeah.
Of course, it means something different in America, I guess. But that was her name. So.
How dare you hit my fanny?
This movie is amazing.
Should we go to the ratings?
Yeah, I think we have to.
Right. Max, how many red ninjas out of 10 would you give this film?
This movie is a fun, rollicking time. Watch it with all the family. I'm giving this one 4 red ninjas out of 10.
Oh, nice. Chris?
If I was to go on pure enjoyment, I'd probably give it like 7 red ninjas, but I have to actually give it like 3 red ninjas.
Hell.
What was that? 3.
3, yeah.
I said I'd actually give it 3.
See, I'm going to give it the same rating as Max. I was going to give it a 4 originally, but that's just like enjoyment and just how the film is recorded, because it does get boring, so you're going to need to turn it off halfway through. You're not going to miss anything, and you're going to get all the benefits of it being funny before it gets boring.
For sure. There's nothing like at the end you need to see anyway. It just ends, and that's it.
Well, the ending doesn't do anything for the movie anyway. Nothing gets answered.
No. I mean, I didn't really have many questions anyway. Because it's all just like this big amalgamation of whatever. It's like, I have so many questions, but I don't know how to phrase them.
Do you know what this reminds me of? It reminds me of like, it's like someone's just got like an anthology series and tried to put them into one series, and you're like, this doesn't make sense.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that was Ninja Dragon. Highly recommend.
Thank you.
And then
Hell yeah.
we're on to the last movie,
Yes.
which I'm gonna say is my movie, but I didn't buy it. I didn't buy either of the movies that was suggested to me. I just picked which of the two we were going to watch, and it was Godsend, a film with the guy from Meet the Fuckers in it. What's his
Robert
name?
De Niro.
Also known as Robert De
That's
Niro.
the one, yes.
Yeah.
One of the most infamous and acclaimed actors of all time.
Yeah, it's got Robert De Niro in it. So, the premise for this film, this married couple have a kid called Danny.
Adam.
And he's 8 years old, and the day after his 8th birthday, his mum takes him shopping, and she just lets him go outside on the street on his own while she's watching from a supermarket or a store, and he gets his head caved in by a car and dies, which we don't see. The family is then approached by Robert De Niro, who offers to clone their son, essentially. So it would be birthed from the mother again. They say yes, and it was essentially be a spitting image of Danny, and so
Adam.
Yeah, Adam. And when Adam gets to 8 years old, some freaky shit starts happening, and he kills a few people, and then it comes out that
A few. He kills like one person, doesn't he?
yeah, and then it comes
We'll
out
get
that
to that.
Robert De Niro's character. Then it comes out that Robert De Niro's character had also had a son that died, and he put some of his genetics in Danny's genetics, and Danny is being controlled
Adam.
by this Adam, and Adam is being controlled. I'm doing that on
name's Adam.
purpose now. I'm doing that on purpose. And then Adam is like kind of possessed, but it doesn't really make it clear on what's actually happening to him, whether he's being possessed or whether it's two people living in one body, and why Robert De Niro's kid was a murderer and a psychopath, but just happens. And this is another film that just has a shit ending. So boys, take it away.
Shit beginning, shit middle as well.
Yes.
Fucking yeah.
Absolutely.
Just
It was
So-
not a good movie.
So
Afraid to say.
if anyone listens to these podcasts, I think 90% of the films that we watch always begin with, this wasn't a good movie.
We really need to change that.
We really need to watch some good fucking movies.
We will. Don't worry.
hopefully next time.
Hope
So I do not recognise the actor and actress that played the parents. I didn't
Oh, I
recognise
do.
any actor or actress from this film that wasn't Robert De Niro. And
I
thought
did.
Everyone's
I recognise.
acting was fucking terrible. Yeah.
I recognise Greg Kinnear, but I only
Who?
recognised him. Greg Kinnear, he plays
Yeah.
the dad, but I only recognised him because he plays a character in Friends, and that's like the most prominent thing that I can put him to in my mind is his character in Friends that he's in for like 2 episodes or something.
And
So-
the woman, Rebecca Romijn, I think her name is. She was the original actress
Romaine.
of yeah. I don't know.
Rebecca Romijn, she played Mystique, didn't she?
Yeah, I was going to say. I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Rebecca Romijn.
That's how it's spelled. Don't blame me, blame whoever named her.
We've all been there.
Fucking hell, Max. Chris.
So when I was watching this movie, I got I was very upset because it was so terrible. But
Can
I
we
basically- I
leave
thought,
can we leave the death till later on?
yeah, we'll get to that later on. But what I'm talking about is how horrible of a time I had in this. And I basically, throughout this, I was just thinking, well, I could be watching any number of whatever the hell's in that this basically is derivative of. Like, I saw a lot of like The Omen in it, a lot of AI, artificial intelligence in it, or even like that one episode of Black Mirror with Domhnall Gleeson, where I think this probably came out before that.
What
You
part
could
of
just
this
watch
film
those and
reminded
have-
you of AI? Do you mean
So,
like,
like,
is
they get-
AI a film, or is AI
Yeah.
as in
It's
like
a film.
artificial intelligence? Okay.
It's a film. by Steven Spielberg. It's basically about this couple who get a child and he's a robot, and they like become increasingly like unsavory towards him, I'll say. So it really reminded me of that, with like the child angle, like a new child basically that's come into their life through this clone of Adam. I've dubbed him Adam 2. And once he turns 8, he starts being, well, a bit of a prick.
Yeah, so when he turns, it says not just when he turns 8, it's when he passes the point of his first death. So it's the day after his 8th birthday. That's when he originally died, and then that's when like the weird shit starts happening. Like, I can't call it a possession because it doesn't make clear what's actually happening. But this is the part of his life where Robert De Niro's deceased child is prominent in him. I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make clear whether Robert De Niro's kid is possessing his body or whether they're both sharing it, and it's only past the point of when Danny died originally that he
Adam,
that he was able to take control and sort of do whatever. But then it also doesn't explain the fact of why Robert De Niro's kid is a murderer and why he just decides to kill people.
No,
I had no clue what was happening.
There's this thing... No, not really, but there's like this thing that Adam number 2 has, where like he has like bad dreams, and for the life of me, like the dreams were probably the best part of these movies because they were so like scattershot and just weird looking and weirdly edited, even though
Is that the
bad.
stuff that reminded you of The Omen?
No, I mean like the premise overall with like a demon child, son of Lucifer, reminds me of
What does that
The
mean?
Omen. The Omen is about the son of Lucifer, the devil.
Oh, I thought the O-Man was what they called the guy out of The World's End.
No, well, you know where they got that from?
Where?
666, The Omen. Mark of the Beast. So anyway. Yeah. where was I? I don't even remember.
little bit of a mythology lesson there. You were talking about
he's got the bad
the dream
dreams
sequence, yeah.
Yeah. And I took that as sort of Adam number 1, the original Adam, if you may, if you will, sort of trying to get back into his body. But I'm thinking, well, he's dead. He can't get back into his body. This isn't even his body. It's just a clone of him. So I'm thinking, it's probably not him trying to get back. He's just having like bad dreams about the first Adam. And then suddenly Robert De Niro's like, yeah, I had a child. His name was Zachary. And then like he's also inside Adam 2. Like what? And like apparently he'd done it with like a few kids. Is that right? Did I get that right?
I
think that's what he said.
Yeah, because he said he couldn't perfect it, and
No.
I think that's what he was trying to do with this one. But did you notice that? Well, I guess we're gonna have to talk about it now because it fits on. Max got really emotional when his favorite character of this movie was sadly killed.
Is he the only person who dies in this movie? Apart from Robert De Niro, I guess?
Zachary's mum died in a flashback, but that's really about it. Or no, his wife, sorry, in the film. Zachary, when he takes control of Danny's body, kills Adam, kills a kid called Roy, and at this point, I think Max had just become so emotionally unstable after watching 3 bad movies that he just went into a laughing fit for about 5 minutes where he just uncontrollably wouldn't stop laughing, and all you would have to do is say the word Roy and he would just freak out. And I'm not even exaggerating there. He fucking freaked out for 5 minutes.
Yep. I did kind of snap, to be honest. It's just like, it's a grueling process. You've got to understand this. It was a grueling process.
Yeah,
watching all
understand
these
what
terrible
we go
movies
through to bring you guys this fucking podcast.
So yeah, I just like sort of sat there just giggling to myself. Nothing that was happening was even remotely funny, but I think it's like something that's like brought on by intense boredom, you know?
Well,
when you're just so bored that like,
the
it's
point-
that you've got nothing to do but laugh.
The point where Max started laughing is at the point in the film where you find out a child has been murdered and his mum is standing on the edge of the river crying that her son's been killed, and Max is
and you
just
see
there
his corpse
pissing
and
himself,
everything.
like floating in the water, and Max is just uncontrollably laughing about it.
It was funny, come on.
But the reason that was brought up is because at the funeral, at Roy's funeral, Robert De Niro is actually there. And I don't know if you guys picked it up, but so this is at the point where the father of Danny knows knows there's something wrong. He knows there's something wrong with his kid. So he confronts Robert De Niro's character, and they're at the funeral for this Roy kid, and the dad goes, was he not like compatible or something? So it meant that the Robert De Niro had went to that funeral to ask the parents to clone their son to, I assume, try to perfect the creation of his own son to be brought back. Because at the beginning of the film, after the Danny's death, the family are approached by him like straight away after the funeral, after they leave the funeral. So it's just a bit of a scummy character, isn't he?
Yeah, every time Greg Kinnear got mad with him, he would like grab him by like the collar or something, or like by his coat. He got mad at him a lot, by the way. And he just grabbed De Niro by the coat and just started yelling at him just in public, wherever. You can't... This is a problem I have with this movie, is that the acting is so poor. It's like, and it was clearly down to the direction as well, because Robert De Niro is not a terrible actor. You know, Greg Kinnear is not a terrible actor. Rebecca Romijn is not a terrible actor. But the acting is bad in this, I'm afraid to say. And I didn't believe a word of what was coming out of their mouths. I didn't care about any of the characters.
There's also that bit where they're in the church and he confronts him, and Robert De Niro just snaps and like hits him over the head with something, and then burns down the church.
Yeah, he bludgeons
and then
him.
the next scene, Greg Kinnear just appears out of nowhere alive. It's like, how did he survive?
Right.
Yeah.
There's
The Lord
literally
healed him.
yeah, there's literally a shot after Robert De Niro twats him in the back of the head where you can see a massive gouge on the back of his head, and there's blood pissing down his neck, and he's like all disorientated and discombobulated, and Robert De Niro like just goes, "You fucking ungrateful something," and then walks off. And then the next scene, like the dad's fine. There's no injury.
Yeah. Well, he was healed by the Lord.
He was in a church. You can't die in church, I hear.
Yeah, and then like
Yeah.
like in like a few seconds, in like a minute or two, he's back at his own house and he's like protecting his wife from Adam 2, who's like trying to kill her or something. And then, well, that's at like near the end of the movie, and then like there's no resolve. He's just like he's a bad kid, and then he's trying to he kills Roy. He's killed our guy Roy, and she's trying to like reason with him, but he's like, oh, I don't really care, to be honest. And then at the end, it's just like, well, the end, I guess.
So
hey, we're moving into a new house, son. Well done.
Yeah, so their son Danny, being possessed by Zachary, goes to kill the mum, and Adam, sorry, and their dad stops him, and then the kid just is like, "Oh, I'm your son again." Zachary's gone, and then like 5 minutes later, he's pulled into a closet in a new house after a few weeks, I'm guessing, and then he's possessed by Zachary again. You're like, okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it's completely devoid of, well, really any thought, I thought, to the filmmaking or to the direction. That it's just lacked like every kind of emotion imaginable. It was just like the worst kind of movie, I think.
I will say I didn't believe that I didn't believe in the acting that the mum and dad had actually lost a son in the film.
No.
For me, it was just so fake that it just clearly looked like they were acting, that it wasn't genuine.
Yeah, and then like Robert De Niro comes along, he's like, you know what, I could save your son. I could make a clone of him. And they're like, oh, you monster, no, we're not going to do that. And I'm like, it's like 10 minutes into the movie. We all know you're going to do it.
No, the mum is fully up for it. The mum is all up for it. It's the dad that says no.
Yeah.
And the only reason they choose to do this and not have another kid is because the wife can't get pregnant after the first one. Danny fucked her up. But you know, when it's like Adam, sorry, but when it's like genetically engineered babies, your ovaries don't give a shit. They're just they're like, yeah, fuck it.
Super babies.
Yeah. Like giving birth to Homelander or something.
Yeah. There was that part where I was laughing hysterically, and then what set me off again was like she was talking to her friend, and like they what was it? She like said, "Oh, I talked to a baby doctor," and it set me off. I was like, "A doctor who's a baby? Oh my god!" Because the writing is so bad, like I can't like differentiate it.
Who wrote this film? Like who did the script for this film? Does anyone know? Chris, can you get that up?
Yeah, I had that up. So a guy called Mark Bombach. He he's written a few things. After
Anything
this, he
noticeable?
wrote Die Hard 4, Race to Witch Mountain.
I don't know if you've seen Die
the
Hard
remake.
4. I don't see. Oh my god, both bad movies.
The Wolverine, and he also did uncredited script work on Rise of the Planet of the Apes, 50 Shades of Grey, Logan, and the Tom Cruise version of The Mummy.
God. He's been around.
Only one of them movies was a good one, and it was Logan.
I thought you were going to say 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
No, it could have been. I've never seen it, and I'm not a woman, so it's not.
I don't think it was very well received.
What,
No.
50 Shades of Grey?
Well, I don't think people regard it as very good.
Oh, fair enough.
What are you talking about? It's a great movie for everyone.
But you can tell a lot of the films that this guy has scripted all follow the same flaw, that the writing is very, very poor. Because like Wolverine, Total Recoil, the remake, with Colin Firth in it, and the girl from Undertides from Underworld. So it's got Steph in it. And The Mummy with Tom Cruise, that's a horrible movie. It's just all these movies have the same flaw, that they just have a very poor script about them. I mean, Total Recoil was probably one of the better ones of it, but it's just because I think a lot of the people in there sort of acted a hell of a lot better, so it made the film a bit more believable, like hid the bad writing through the good acting. But the guy just clearly can't write scripts, and then I don't know what he did, how much of a contribution he had towards Logan, but it must not have been a lot.
Well, it was uncredited, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I don't know what that means though. Like,
it must have just been someone wrote the script and sent to him. He must have been like a script doctor or something, like fixing small bits here and there. So not doing
a
like
doctor that's a
significant
script.
Yeah.
It's like a baby doctor.
A baby doctor with his mate Dr. Script.
So before we get to the ratings, I'm on the IMDb page, and on underneath the storyline, there's a little bit that says plot keywords, and under the plot keywords,
Don't tell me one of them's Roy.
Close. There's boy.
Yeah.
The main three are bare-chested boy, barefoot boy, and camera shot of bare feet.
Oh, what? It's a Quentin Tarantino movie.
What the fuck? What keywords are they?
Bear boy.
What are the keywords used for?
Because you search them and then it comes up.
Yeah, you can click on it and it says every film that's related to that. So one of them's also attempted child murder. So if you want to watch a film with an attempted child murder in, you can just click on there.
Do you think Quentin Tarantino just has this saved and like all he does is just type in like the bare feet film angles or something?
He probably just watches
It's
that
all
scenes from Dusk Till Dawn always. Just has it on loop
he just
on the
goes
TV.
onto that. He just goes onto that IMDb page and he just sees camera shots of bare feet and he's just like, yes, and just clicks it and just looks at every movie. Before you get onto the ratings, I also have something that I want to say. I think this would have been a much better movie if it had taken a different point of view. And that point of view was from the driver of the car who is clearly going to suffer from PTSD after running over a child's face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have liked to have seen a movie about how they dealt with the PTSD.
Or maybe they were just an arsehole and didn't care.
I don't know. Well, we would
It's
never
their
know,
own
Max.
They shouldn't have been driving there in the first place.
That is true. So let's get on to the ratings then. We ready?
Oh wait,
Anything-
I have sorry,
Okay,
one last thing. There's like a part when like De Niro's talking to Rebecca Romijn, the mum, and he's like, "You'd have nothing if not for me." And it's like, what did you do, man? You just like cloned their son. She already has like a loving husband and a nice job, and she has a great house as well.
I remember when this happened, and the Robert De Niro went, yeah, you'd have nothing without me. And Max went, bro, she's got a good job, a nice house, and a husband that loves her. She had everything, just not a kid.
They had to like uproot their whole life to do this. Like they had to move house to a place where nobody knew them, so they could get a clone son. What are you talking about?
Also, throughout this review of the film, you've probably noticed that we've not referred to any person by their character's name other than 3 people, which is Roy, Danny, and Zachary. That's because we don't know any of the character's name. I don't know what Robert De Niro's character's called. I don't know what the mum and dad's characters are called.
You don't know what the kid's called either, apparently.
No.
Yes, Danny, innit?
No.
Oh, what is it?
Oh, go on. You know this.
Oh, is it Roy?
Yeah.
No.
but you see my point. Like, I genuinely haven't known any of the characters' names. I don't know what about you guys. That's how forgettable it was.
Yeah. I mean, if I hadn't written a couple of them down, I probably wouldn't have remembered them apart from Roy.
Yeah. But what are the mum and dad's? What are the characters' names? Like them 3 characters.
Paul, Jesse, and Richard.
Yeah, didn't know any of them. Anyway, on to the ratings, boys. So Max, we'll start with you. How many Roys out of 10 are you going to give this?
Roy!
Honestly, when we finished, after you finished your laughing fit, I was like, right, I know what the rating system for this film's going to be.
This movie is the worst a movie can be. It is uninspired, it is lackluster, it's very boring, no passion whatsoever. I'm giving this 2 Roys out of 10.
I don't know whether Max just described his singing or the movie.
Oh, come on. You didn't have to go there.
I'm joking. Singing on Undertides, you're better now. You actually sing music you like.
Yeah. So, Chris?
I will also give it 2 Roys out of 10. It's a really, really boring movie.
I'm going to give it 1 Roy out of 10 because there was nothing redeeming about this film other than when it ended.
And Roy?
Well, yeah, they killed. I would have given it a 10 if they didn't kill him off.
You do a spin-off movie.
He was the best part. I'm pretty sure he was the bully of the school, and I felt sympathetic for him dying.
Oh, dear. Rest in peace,
Fuck
Roy.
me. Yeah, well. So I don't know if you guys just want to save what we're going to talk about at the end of this and just put it on to like a whole separate podcast.
No, there are a million questions we could answer. We can answer a question now. It's what we do.
Is
Yeah.
anyone thought of one?
Yeah, I've got one.
All right, go for it.
It's not one that can have a huge discussion, I guess.
That's fine.
So it's can a remake be done well, or are they all inherently bad?
I would say, just taking the lead here. No, they can be done well. Of course, they can be done well. There are remakes that are good. The Suspiria remake is great. I actually like that a lot more than the original. That's about all I can think of, though. But I do think it can be done.
I will say that they can't be. Mainly
Wow.
for the fact that you've only named one remake that you like, right? Let's list some of the big remakes that are out there, or the ones that I can think of. Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, Chucky, with the new Child's Play, Total Recoil. Not great movies.
Recall.
Every single one of them are pretty shit. Nightmare on Elm Street is terrible. Friday the 13th wasn't as bad as that. The Chucky remake was a good take on a different spin on the movie, and then the Total Recall remake was just terrible. I think the problem that you have with remakes is the nostalgia that people are going to have to the originals, and I don't know whether people can just actively watch a remake for what it is, or a remake, or whether they're going to watch it through rose-tinted glasses. Now, what I would say is reimaginings of original movies can be done, but I think remakes are going to be a very big one. Like, it's just going to be very hard.
The way I look at it is that it can be done well if you take a film and either do something different or try and improve upon what the original film didn't do as well. I'd probably say one of, if not the best remake ever made, is The Thing from the 80s. That's a remake of a 50s B movie. And they took that film that was very dated, very cheesy, and made it a lot darker and added these incredible practical effects and stuff. And like Max said, the Suspiria remake, where they took the basic story and created something completely different that still feels kind of similar to what the original director was going for, but adding Luca, whatever his name is own unique
Luca
spin to it.
Magnotta.
No.
Yeah.
Luca Guadagnino.
Do you even know who Luca
think
Magnotta is, Max?
No.
Oh, fucking hell. He's a guy that killed kittens and then, like, killed an Asian guy.
Oh, lovely.
Sounds like a top chap.
He's
think
on the Don't
if-
Fuck With Cats documentary on Netflix.
I never watched that.
Right.
I think if you have someone who's talented enough, who respects the source material but also wants to do something different, then you could get something well made. But a lot of the big remakes, like you said, Friday the 13th, Nightmare on Elm Street, they're just cash grabs. They just get a random director in and try and make it modern, and it just doesn't work.
Yeah, well, I think the problem is that that a lot of these are just seen as a way to make money, and there's not a lot of people doing it for the love of the original movie. That's why we're getting all of these Disney remakes that are soulless and they have no point to them.
Maybe that is the problem. Maybe that's why like none of the remakes that I've ever seen are good, because everyone just wants a bit of a cash grab rather than actually putting some soul into a movie. But on the topic of like Disney remakes and stuff, YouTube channel that I was watching a couple weeks ago, one of their videos, that I was watching a couple weeks ago. Now, these are intelligent guys. They're really into like their movies, their TV shows, and they're massive fans of Star Wars. So when it comes to like their opinions, I kind of take them as very credible in what they say. And they were, one of them said as an off comment towards the end of one of their episodes that in our lifetime we will probably see a Star Wars Episode 1 remake.
Yeah,
Do you
I
think
mean, that's inevitable.
with the way that Disney are going at the moment with remaking everything, that in like 30, 40, even 50 years time we'll get like a Star Wars remake?
I think probably it's
Yeah.
headed there.
Man, could
Because
you
obviously, I mean, they could just do, oh yeah, here's what we didn't like about George Lucas's vision. We could just do it ourselves because we own
Yeah.
it now.
well, if they wanted to do that, just take away everything after episode 3 and you've got a good remake. That's just everything bad about the Star Wars movies. It's just gone.
Like, he's smiling while he says that. He's trying to get a rise out of us.
I actually do like the prequels more than I do like the sequels. And then episodes 7, 8, and 9 I think should just be erased. Like if I had that device from Men in Black, I would just use it on everyone and erase those movies from existence, but sadly we don't.
Yeah, I think remakes aren't necessarily a bad thing, but they're kind of, it's more of a problem with Hollywood and the fact that they make cash grabs. They don't really care about creating something great. That's why, as Max said, you get all the Disney remakes at the moment.
So if you boys could have one film remade that would be done to justice, and it would be a decent, very good remake, so we don't need to know the story, the plot and stuff, what movie would you go for? And it can be either a series, like a movie series, so a franchise, that's the one, or just a singular movie. What would you go for? I know mine, and I would love to see like a remake of the Rocky movies.
Yeah. I haven't seen those,
It's
actually.
kind of what Creed is, though.
No, I wouldn't say Creed's a remake of the Rocky movies, because it's almost, it's a continuation of the Rocky franchise, but it just takes from a different perspective. It goes from Apollo Creed's son, but I wouldn't say they're remakes.
It kind of follows the same sort of thing of a guy starting up the underdog sort of story.
There's only so much. It's the same thing with Warrior. Warrior's the exact same concept. Underdogs fighting for the top position, they get there in the end. There's only so much you could do in boxing and fighting films. So I wouldn't exactly say like they're very similar, but I wouldn't say they're a remake just for the sheer fact that Rocky is in these films as a coach, rather than the main fighter. But no, I wouldn't say the Creeds are remakes.
Yeah.
I'd actually like to see. Oh, sorry, carry on, Max.
I think I've not really given much thought to it, to be honest. There's nothing that I look at and go, well, they probably should remake that.
Ninja Dragon.
No, that's perfect as is. But I would say that there's like, I would probably say like bad movies. You just remake bad movies that used to have like a lot of promise. Like there's a movie coming out that I was excited for. It's called Chaos Walking, because I read the books when I was a kid and I really loved them, and I just know that's going to be bad, so I'm already like, well, maybe you should remake it. I think that,
why did Chris laugh as soon as you said the name of that film?
Because
it's notoriously
like really
been
bad
in terribly
history behind it.
bad production. It's been going for like 4 years or something. They haven't released it because it's trash. I would say if I'm drawing on something that maybe I do like, I would maybe at some point in the future, I think I've voiced this before, I would like a remake of the Harry Potter movies, but maybe in like a mini-series format. I really do like those movies, but they could always be better, I think. They're not like maybe the greatest movies ever made.
Maybe be a little bit closer to the books.
Yeah, the books are really good.
A load of the characters are transphobic or whatnot, or is that just J.K. Rowling?
I think that's just J.K. Rowling, to be honest.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah, she also said one of
Chris,
the characters are gay, even though they never say it.
Yeah.
I'd like to maybe see a remake of the film Highlander, although the original is like a lot of fun as it is, just like 80s cheesy action movie with Queen doing all the music. I feel like if you got the right director behind it, you could create something pretty interesting because there's a great story.
Would you use the original soundtrack from Queen with Freddie Mercury, or would you replace it with Adam Lambert?
Neither. I think you'd have to make something new. Pay respect to the original, but not in a way where you're just like copying it.
You'd use Blink-182 of Matt Skiberg in it, or whatever the fuck his name is.
No, use
I have thought of one.
No.
Go on then.
Sorry, I thought movies I watched semi-recently, The Hunger Games, remake them, but make it super violent.
Yeah, like the original Battle Royale film that they're based off, or where they copy from.
Yeah.
They copy from.
I'd like
I
to
actually
see a
watched that
remake.
yesterday.
Well, I'd like to see a remake of Treasure Planet. I don't know if you guys remember that Disney film.
I watched that the other day.
Film.
It's really good.
One of my... I haven't watched it in years, but I remember it being one of my favourite Disney films. One of the only animated Disney films that I'd ever watched.
It's still good. I really like it.
Yeah, exactly. So, So that's episode 4 done in the books. We will be back next week with the same format as what's being done now. So hopefully Chris has been able to work his magic, and this podcast sounds like we're all in the same room together. We're actually not. We're at our own homes. Any final words, boys?
Do we want to do the spinning wheel
say...
now so we know what to prepare for?
No, we'll do it on the last episode of when in lockdown podcasts. Or
I'm okay with that.
Whenever
fuck it, we can do it whenever. To be fair, I don't give a shit. Like, I don't think
should we do it now, just for the sake of consistency, and then
just in case it goes on longer than we expect, and it just
Don't
happens.
say that.
It comes off suddenly.
Do you guys hear that they've extended the furlough scheme till March?
Yeah, sounds a bit dodgy.
Honestly, we're only going to be in lockdown till the 2nd of December, but we're going to give you pay up until March.
Spinning the wheel now.
What's it going to be? Can't wait.
Man, I fucking hope it's the Hunger Games.
I don't. I want something good, you know?
I am desperate for some good fucking movies, in all fairness.
So we do get 3 vetoes if it's not something we like.
Yeah.
2.
Really
I think
want
Chris
to do.
said 2.
2, yeah.
2. So the first thing that has come up is the Mexico trilogy, which is a trilogy of films directed by Robert Rodriguez. So you got El Mariachi, Desperado, and Once Upon a Time in Mexico.
If I could say veto on that one, because we did just do From Dusk Till Dawn.
And they are kind of like,
quite similar. Robert Rodriguez was involved in those. So if we could do another one, please.
That's where we get films directed by Robert Rodriguez.
Or we get that again.
Sick of that, man.
The Dark Man trilogy.
What's that?
Okay.
It's the first film's directed by Sam Raimi. It's
ooh, nice.
I guess kind of a superhero movie, probably more of like an anti-villain sort of film, but it was based.
Is this one that you were? Oh my god, this is a movie that Reed recommended to me ages ago.
Yeah,
Reed recommended we do the trilogy at some point, which is why I added it.
Oh well, here we go. We're doing the Max. You up for the Dark Man trilogy?
Yeah, let's do it.
Nice. What
Awesome.
films do they consist of, Chris?
There is Dark Man 2, and Dark Man 3.
Oh, fair enough.
Fantastic.
Right, so we'll see you next week for the next episode of the Shit Talk podcast, but tune back in like a month's time.
Sunday movie marathon podcast.
Yeah, this isn't the Shit Talk podcast. What the hell are you on about? Trying to plug your own podcast. Dear.
I didn't even mean to do that. I did not mean to do
See you next week on the next episode of Deep Diving.
God damn it. So anyway, this has been the Cult to the Touch podcast. Thank you for listening.
See, Max can't even use his own podcast because he hasn't got one. The only podcast he can plug is the one that we're doing.
This is my podcast, man.
He's got Under the Blankets with Undertides.
No, I don't.
You can bring that back.
Thank you very much, everyone, for listening. Stay safe.
Wait there.
Oh my god, he's going to do something.
Wait, do your outro.
All right, thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Oh my god, he's got a guitar.
Wait there. Right, you ready?
Yes.
Do your outro.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. I only take my headphones out to do this. I can't listen. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Please stay safe, and we will be back with you next Sunday for another episode of the Sunday Movie Marathon. Okay, now.